Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be about my last big reading challenge for 2023, which is all about nonfiction books. I did it last year for the first time because I had realized that I was only reading maybe like 5 to 10 nonfiction max every year, and they weren't really the ones I really wanted to be reading. It was just mostly like a last minute decision. Oh, the library has an audiobook available. I don't have any right now, so let me pick it up. And I realized that they weren't even really things I was that interested about, like a lot of like memoirs that ended up not being favorites. Anyway, so last year I made it a goal to change that, and I got prepared, made a big list at the library for books to put on my waiting list or wish list, and then I picked up more throughout the year, and I ended up reading 33, 34, and I did a whole video reviewing all 30 I had read when I hit 30. The rest will be included in this year's version of that because I'm hoping to read just as many. I have a ridiculous TBR. Some physical ones, and then I'm going to grab my laptop and we're going to go through the ones I've been adding to my library waiting list because yes. And yeah, let's get to it. Realistically, will I have time to read every single one of these in 2023? Maybe not, although we're hopeful. And I thought it would just be fun to just let you know which ones I want to read, the ones that are on my TBR to be read pal. That way you can know that they exist and also add them to yours. You're gonna see it's a mix of a lot of different topics and like some popular, some less popular. You know what? Let's start with a couple that are really well known because I want to read them because, you know, it's time. I read Sapien like 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I never continued and picked up Amadeus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. I did read another book by the author, The 21 Lesson for 21st Century, which frankly wasn't that great. It was 21 chapters, not 21 lessons. Anyway, so that's kind of why I just never continued. I want to. It's a pretty chunky one. I might try the audiobook because I realize how much I love audiobooks for nonfiction. Not every topic. Some of them are just too complicated to just listen to them, but I think this one would be a good one. So I'm going to check if my library has the audiobook, otherwise I will be reading the physical copy of it. Another one that is quite popular is An Astronaut Guide to Life. One of the things I was reading a ton of before this challenge was any books that were about like physics, astrophysics. I love space, but I realized I didn't have the brain power to read them most of the time. I need to not be sleepy and I need to be able to sit down and actually absorb, but I feel like this is just adjacent to it, just a little bit of a taste to it. It's kind of a memoir, but really about a topic also, and I've heard really great things, so I'm looking forward to that one. It has been on my shelf for like 2-3 years at this point, so we need to make that happen. Another one that is quite popular is Come As You Are, which is about sex, I guess. I'm not sure how much I can talk about on YouTube without being flagged, but I've heard really great things about this book in general, so I wanted to pick it up. It's bright and fun, and I believe the audiobook is also really good, but we'll see what happens. I might read a physical copy, I might listen to it. I feel like it might be something I want to put like post-its or something, but that seems intriguing and definitely very different from everything else I've read in nonfiction. Speaking of, this is probably as close to self-help as I usually get. This is Adult Children of Emotionally Mature Parents. This was part of my last book haul, actually. There are a few on here because I'm really excited to read them right now, but this is actually so short, but it's so popular. I've seen it literally everywhere, and I wanted a physical copy so I could actually annotate it and post it and like underline. I'm not yet a highlighter. Maybe I will become that person, but yes, I want a physical copy of this one, so this one I'm definitely sitting down for it. Otherwise, I also have some that I just think the topics are interesting, and I picked them up because they sound fun. That went really well. That category of just like random topic that I'm testing, sampling to see if I want to read more about them or just if that was enough, that was enough. I did well last year, but I picked this one up and I really want to read it. It is Quackery, A Brief History of the Worst Way to Cure Everything. So basically a bunch of ways doctors have been killing their patients with over the years. For example, you know, think arsenic, mercury, you know, that kind of fun stuff. And like even the pages look diseased with like this kind of like color, chartreuse or something. Listen, that sounds fun. Obviously, it's a little dark, but apparently I think that's fun. So yes, I'm looking forward to that one for sure. A little bit more depressing in terms of topic. things like this one, Men Who Hate Women, the Extremism Nobody's Talking About. It's about the incel movement. Obviously, we're talking about it a lot more now than we were at the time, but this has been recommended to me so many times. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I also have this one, Why Does He Do That? This is such a popular book about abusive men. The author is really popular. He has done a bunch of interviews if you want to look into it. You can even have access to the PDF for free online if you want to just read certain sections, but it's another book that I wanted to own so I could annotate it, maybe let other people borrow it. I don't know if that feels a bit inappropriate to be like, I think you would benefit from reading this, but at the same time, you know, I want to read it so I can actually do that. So yes, looking forward to that one. I've read a section of it online, but I have a physical copy now. I don't own a ton of memoirs. I feel like usually it's like last minute decision. I see them available at the library. That's when I pick them up. But I do own this one because I've heard really great things. This one is They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us. I believe this one is a collection of essays about the author, his life, just something I've been wanting to pick up because I heard great things. So I grabbed it. This one I want to actually reread it. I read it a couple years ago. The Gift of Fear is so popular, but I didn't own a physical copy. I had the ebook, but once again wanted to annotate it. Listen, I've completely changed. I used to hate people writing in their books, and I don't really write yet, but I do underline and I do put post-its. So I want to do the same thing, a little bit of a refresh. I feel like that's something that everyone, well, at least a lot of us, would benefit from reading. So I want to reread it so I can actually continue recommending it with a more of a fresh memory of it. I also have Word S. I don't think I can say that on YouTube, which is about the importance of language and like how it can be sexist. So wanted to look more into that topic. I also have Are Prisons Obsolete? I have so many really short ones, especially again from the library, like audiobooks that are less than 10 hours. I feel like it's just an easy way to try the topic. So this one is about prison abolitionist or prison abolition or just reform. It's just exploring that topic. So looking forward to that. And then we have The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House, which again is super short, but I've been really wanting to read that. I have The 7 Necessary Sins for Women and Girls, which is about things like politeness and how we're brainwashed into, you know, what is politeness? Who decided what is considered polite? Who benefits from it? So that's also super intriguing. Almost done with the physical one. We have They Were Her Property, which is about the role of white women in the slavery movement. I think it's specifically for the US. And then last but not least, I've had this one for a couple years on my shelves and I really want to read it. This is Women Who Run with the Wolves, which this is one of the only books that I was recommended in person. Basically, a friend's mom read this years ago and really remembered loving it. So I wanted to try it because I feel like sometimes feminist books don't always age super well, but I feel like I haven't read any of them and I want to just see how things have changed since. And in this one, I believe the author was traveling all over the world and exploring like myths and everything around women in seeing how they have a lot of similarities. So pretty chunky, but we can do this. This sounds really interesting. Let's look at the ones that are currently on my waiting list. There's a difference between waiting list and wish list. Waiting list, I can only put 30 of them, in wish list as many as I want, right? I have Salt, which I feel like I'm either gonna love it or be really bored, but it's like 14 hours long about the history of salt. So I've heard mixed reviews. I thought everyone had loved it, and then obviously when I mentioned that I wanted to read that, that's when everyone comes out and tells me, yeah. And the one that is quite popular is Empire of Pain. I really want to read that one really soon. It's about the opioid crisis, how pain medicine has been like overprescribed, specifically in the US, and like the Sacklers, the street, their family that started all of this. I have Lessons in Chemistry, which I believe this one is mixed memoir and like more about the topic. This was really popular. It won, I think it's a nonfiction category for the Goodreads Choice Award. It has been recommended to me multiple times, so I will be trying that one. I also have The Song of the Cell, which I've read 2 books by the author in 2022, The Gene and The Emperor of All Manedzi, which both of them are super popular and have been on my physical TBR for years, and I finally got around to reading both of them during the year. So this is just his newest one, which is an exploration of medicine and the new human. So kind of sounds in line with his other work. So looking forward to that one. I also have The Rise and Reign of the Mammals, which I read the ones about dinosaur from the same author, so that's just his newest work. I wanted to give it a shot because I have enjoyed Again, the one about dinosaurs, so might as well continue. And then the last one on my winning list is What My Bones Now Know. No. What My Bones Know. So that one is also really quite popular and has been on my TBR for over a year. So on the waiting list actually for over a year. I'm going to quickly mention some of the ones that are on my wish list so that I want to eventually get around to reading. The rest are on my wish list, so I don't know when I'm going to get around to reading them. I just want to point out that I have seen them. I want to eventually read them. So this is going to be like rapid fire. So we have Invisible Child, which is about poverty in the US. We have An Immense World. I believe it's from the same author that wrote I Contain Multitude, which I do have on my shelf. Might get to that one too. There is Off With Her Head, Disability Pride, The Library, A Fragile History. That was on my TBR all year last year. Never got around to reading that one. In Cold Blood, which that one was recommended to me. I thought it was a mystery thriller, but apparently it's nonfiction. Medical Apartheid. I am terrified of this one. I know it's gonna just traumatize me, but I really want to read that. Know My Name is another of the few memoirs that are currently on my radar. Like I said, usually it's like a last second decision when I decide to read some, but that one I do want to read. And I have Breeding Sweetgrass, which so many great reviews of this one, which is about Indigenous women, scientific knowledge, and the teaching of plants. I've seen it literally everywhere. You probably have too. And then I think this is going to be the last one I'm going to include in here because this is getting kind of long. I have All the Living and the Dead, which I'm so excited for this one. From embalmers to executioner, an exploration of the people who have made death their life's work. Again, kind of dark, but it sounds like a fun topic to explore just a little bit. You know, I'm not going to read 20 books on it, but one sounds cool. So there's obviously a lot more that I want to read in my lifetime. But these are the main ones that are currently on my TBR. And actually, the ones that are on my TBR for this month, I don't know if I will be done with them by the time this video goes up, but hopefully. We have Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis, and we have Doing Harm, The Truth About How Bad Medicine and Lazy Science Leaves Women Dismissed, Misdiagnosed, and Sick. So these should be the first ones that I finish. So as you see, I have a lot of nonfiction books that I really want to read this year. I just wanted to let you know, the ones, like I said, that are currently on my radar. I'm hoping to find a time to read them this year. Definitely also recommend, adding them to your own TBR at your own library if you want to read them with me. Let me know if there are any that you really want me to prioritize and get to in 2023. And if you have any other ones that you think I would enjoy or some favorite that other people would enjoy, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. That would be really fun to have more books to add to our never-ending TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'm going to put on the screen other reading challenges that I have for the year. So one about some classics that I would like to finish and one about series that I need to finish. My goal is to finish 10. It's going to be hard, but I can do it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe. I will see you in my next one very soon. Bye.